Sunday, September 19, 1976, a never-to-be-forgotten day in Jamaica's history. As the sun blazed down on the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica, tens of thousands of people came together in unity and love to pledge their solidarity with the People's National Party and democratic socialism. They came from remote villages. They came from towns. They came from the city. Snow cone vendors, teachers, impact workers, doctors, lawyers, small farmers, factory workers came to take part in the public session of the 38th Annual Conference of the People's National Party. The historic session was planned for the National Arena. From the night before, comrades began arriving in buses and trucks. Many set up makeshift beds outside the arena, and in the wee small hours of the morning, coal pots were aglow as camping comrades prepared an early breakfast. Long before starting time, the arena was full and overflowing. PNP River had come down from bank to bank. And when the gathering of comrades overflowed outside the arena and Sunday, September 19, 1976, a never-to-be-forgotten day in Jamaica's history. As the sun blazed down on the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica, tens of thousands of people came together in unity and love to pledge their solidarity with the People's National Party and democratic socialism. They came from remote villages. They came from towns. They came from the city. Snow cone vendors, teachers, impact workers, doctors, lawyers, small farmers, factory workers came to take part in the public session of the 38th Annual Conference of the People's National Party. The historic session was planned for the National Arena. From the night before, comrades began arriving in buses and trucks. Many set up makeshift beds outside the arena, and in the wee small hours of the morning, coal pots were aglow as camping comrades prepared an early breakfast. Long before starting time, the arena was full and overflowing. PNP River had come down from bank to bank. And when the gathering of comrades overflowed outside the arena and into the street, the meeting moved to the National Stadium. And what a lesson in discipline and unity it was, as groups of comrades moved as one to the strains of old party songs. It was a day of rejoicing. It was a day of comradeship. It was the fourth day of the most successful party conference Jamaica had ever seen. Many comrades and friends representing our brothers and sisters of the progressive world came to share in the glory of the socialist movement. They brought messages of inspiration and solidarity. They left full of hope for Jamaica's future. The National Stadium became alive with singing and cheering as comrades hailed the comrade leader of the People's National Party, the Honourable Micheal Manley, Prime Minister of Jamaica. And he spoke as he never spoke before. His was the voice of the people, expressing our struggles and our hopes for the future. Hearts were full as 40,000 comrades rededicated themselves to the building of democratic socialism. We were one with our leader as we pledged that we were not for sale, and as we said with great meaning, we know where we are going. Before the comrade leader spoke, comrade sang his favorite hymn, "I Must Have the Savior With Me."
I must have the Savior with me, for I dare not walk alone. I must feel His presence near me, and His arms
And now, the comrade leader of the People's National Party, the Honourable Micheal Manley, Prime Minister of Jamaica.
We are struggling to build something new. And we may suffer while we struggle. But the suffering that you endure when you struggle is worth enduring, because you know what you are fighting to build, and because you know where you are going, and we know where we are going. And I want to thank you, because always I believed that the masses have the faith, they have the courage. All they need is the organization and the leadership and the dedication to the building of a new world. And I thank you, the masses of Jamaica, because every time that we, the leadership, have felt doubt, we have turned to you, and you have given us the courage to move forward and to fight on. God bless you, the people of this country. This conference has had a profound impact on everybody who has lived through it. And I want to give thanks on your behalf to all the delegates who came from abroad to stand with us at this momentous time in Jamaica's history. And we ask that they all take back our greetings and our thanks, and to tell their colleagues at home that we know that they came to Jamaica because the world knows that Jamaica is at a moment of destiny. We are at a moment of destiny, comrades. We are at a moment of destiny. We have watched the forces at work, and when they hear of your presence here today, oh, what a weeping and a wailing. There are certain places in the world today that when they hear of how you came in your thousands and thousands and tens of thousands and tens of thousands to stand for socialism, there will be a weeping and a wailing. Today, I do not need to make a speech. You have made the speech for me. Comrades, before I say my few words, because in this atmosphere, I cannot give the speech that I planned. I had planned a major speech, but I do not believe you can hear a major speech today. You must tell me. I don't know if you can take it in the sun. I don't know if you can listen and concentrate. But I will be guided by your judgment. And if you say speak, Joshua will speak.
The comrade leader described the conditions which existed in Jamaica during the first 10 years of independence.
Bauxite industry was booming in the world. International capitalism was going through one of its periods of prosperity and expansion. We had just become independent, and our rulers had the opportunity to address themselves to the suffering of their land in the middle of the most favorable conditions the world had ever known. And what did they do with those years? At the end of the time, unemployment had doubled. For every one human being that had no work, in 1962, there were 2 that were suffering by 1972. Out of every 10 young people that were looking for training and education beyond the age of 15, 8 out of 10 had to look at the blank wall of poverty. Only 2 could get any training. There were 450,000 small farmers who had nothing but hillside rockstone to scratch. Our bauxite was being mined out of our country like dirt for a pittance. There had been a government in power for 10 years that dared to call itself labor. And in 10 years, they had never passed one serious piece of legislation to protect the rights of so much as one worker in Jamaica. Women would work their hearts out beside men and draw less pay. When children were born, most of them were called illegitimate and had no real rights in law. The land was writhing under the lash of victimization. Corruption was everywhere in the nation. And there was no Jamaican to be found anywhere who could have pride to say, I am a Jamaican. The country was bankrupt spiritually, bankrupt morally, and in the years, those who had been wealthy had grown more wealthy. Those who had been privileged had grown more privileged. Those who were poor had grown poorer, and those who had no rights had sunk deeper into despair. And the people of Jamaica looked at that, and they said, no more, no way. And those are the people that now want to come back. No way. No way. And comrades, the reason The reason why we were in that condition, because we, the Jamaican people, were trapped. We were trapped in a world system that we call imperialism, and we were trapped in a local system that we call capitalism. And we set about in 1972 with your mandate for change. But we realized that there could be no change in this country unless we were prepared to change the system, unless we were prepared to join the international struggle against imperialism, and unless we were prepared to reorganize Jamaica to replace the capitalist system with a socialist system.
The comrade leader then analyzed the capitalist system.
Capitalism is a system that works by certain laws. And when I talk of capitalism, I am not talking about the hearts of men. There are good men and bad men in any system. There are good sons and not so good sons in any family. I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about a system. The system of capitalism is based on an economic arrangement in which the surplus of wealth that is made out of production is held by the private hands that own the productive machine. And only those hands decide what to do with that surplus. And if the hands happen to be good hands, they will divide some. If those who work and are exploited by the process, if they are militant in a trade union, they will fight and get some. But the system is designed to keep the surplus that makes the wealth in the hands that own the productive machine. And when we talk of imperialism, we are talking of international capitalism and the way it works. And if we look at our country, when you talk of how a few get richer and richer and the many get poorer and poorer, it does not happen because of the heart of men. It doesn't happen because men are good men or bad men. It happens because that is the only way the system can work. And when you look at our sugar and how over the years we cannot get a price for it, and over the years our wealth is pouring out to buy heavy equipment as the small nations are exploited by the rich and the powerful. It is not because the people of the big nations are bad people or good people. It is because the system is bad. And we are dedicated, with God's help, in this small country, in our small way, to look at that system outside of imperialism and to play our fight, to defeat it, to change it, and one day to replace it with a new system that we call the new international economic order. And that is why we are a part of the trade union of the poor. That is why our struggle is an international struggle. Inside Jamaica, we are also determined to replace and change and remove the system of capitalism and replace it by building brick upon brick, step by step, the new system of democratic socialism. My friends, what have we done along that path, and what effect has it had? Because make no mistake, the reason why we are struggling now, the reason why we are suffering what we are suffering now, is because there are forces in the world and inside Jamaica that want to turn us back. And why do they want to turn us back? Not because we are who we are, not because I am Micheal Manley, not because my colleagues are who they are, but because they know that we are determined to change that system. And there is a clique of people who are the beneficiaries of that system. And some of them, not all, some of them are determined to preserve the system. But we shall overcome. We shall overcome. And let us look at what has happened along the road of the struggle to build socialism. And then let us look at what it is that the clique is angry about and why they fight us. Let us look at some of the things that we have done. I start with a special employment program. the Special Employment Program. This program has given thousands of mothers the opportunity to protect their families for the first time in history. We have started land reform. For the first time, tens upon tens of thousands of acres of good flat land are moving to the small farmers at last. And we have said to the small farmer, we have said, you who took to the hills to escape from slavery and who have been condemned by capitalism and colonialism to the hillside land for 120 years. We have said, come down off that hillside now and enter into your patrimony upon the flatlands of your nation. We have started to organize cooperatives. Human beings that used to be grass weeders are now the owners and controllers of the lands and the production where they used to labor alone. Glory to socialism. The children that were born out of wedlock matter not whether they were part of a stable home, matter not anything, were inferior under the law. And at one stroke, we have created one of the most fundamental changes in the condition of the Jamaican people by the Status of Children Act, which says that every child that is born to this nation shall be equal in the sight of God, in the sight of man, in the sight of woman, and in the sight of posterity. And comrades, when you look at the things we have done, you ask yourself, why does the clique hate us so? Why do they fight us so? So first of all, let me remind you who the clique is. I'm going to tell you who the clique is. The clique are the controllers of capital who resist change. The clique are the beneficiaries of imperialism who resist change.